Gentlemen, we're live.
Hello.
We're live into discussion talking about bubbly hydration drinks. I don't mind. Honestly, I'm not a big soda guy. This 2025, I've not drinking any soda yet. I started to notice, like, this is going to sound crazy. Maybe it's all in my head, too. I felt like the enamel was wearing down on my teeth.
That's 100% like not crazy.
I could just feel,
Well,
I don't know, like
your
a
teeth are
slight
weak.
change. Yeah. Weaker, I guess is a good, and I was noticing sensitivities.
I meant that your teeth are weak. They
Oh.
can't handle soda.
You're right.
Evolved.
But I wasn't drinking a lot of soda. I was just drinking probably more than what I would normally drink.
Mm-hmm.
And soda in the sense of like really acidic, dark sodas like Diet Pepsi, Diet Coke, Coke, things like that.
Well, I mean, you've seen the whole thing about putting a penny in Coke.
Yeah, it just dissolves basically. And so I've stopped and I've been doing like enamel mouthwash and stuff like that. And I'm right back to where I felt like I was before.
Yeah.
But it was kind of crazy, just like this buildup effect, where I was really only maybe having like a soda a day, which is a lot for me. I've totally cut that out, and I feel great. But you guys like these other, like, I don't mind, like a LaCroix.
I like these because I gave up soda a while ago now, and I've been doing all right.
Too much strong.
These Poppies sodas.
Well, it's good for your stomach. It's pretty
Good for your stomach. There's only 7 or 5 grams of sugar, only 25 calories. It's just insignificant compared to the damage that like actual soda does for you. So like as far as like a soda substitute, these ones have been kind of holding me over a little bit.
Now, do those have caffeine?
Depends on the flavor. Some do, some don't.
Because I try to, other than natural teas, which I know have caffeine, I try to avoid caffeine.
Green tea.
I've had periods in my life where I noticed my soda intake goes up, or there was like a month where I didn't know I was drinking energy drinks. My wife had bought them and they were in the fridge and I was kind of consuming them.
You had no clue they were energy drinks?
I didn't know they were energy drinks. Yeah.
And like, man, I feel jazzed.
So wired. I feel so good right now.
But that's the thing. I feel like you get that initial, but then it levels off so hard. Like you get used to it.
I
so
found that when
quickly.
I was more dependent, because I used to drink ungodly amounts of soda and coffee. I would drink like 3 coffees a day and like 2 or 3 cans of Coke a day. Average. And now I don't drink soda or coffee like ever. And if I do have like caffeine, I'll get it from I'll drink like a black tea or like a green tea or some type of tea.
Yeah. Tea bag.
Yeah. I just eat the tea bags. And I found that I do feel a little bit better because I used to crash so hard in the afternoon. It'd be like 2 o'clock and I'd just be miserable and think like, I don't know how I'm going to make it to 5 right now. And ever since I gave that up like a little bit over a month ago, I've been feeling pretty good. Yeah. And I don't have any weird cravings anymore. But I do still miss the flavor of Coke, if that makes sense. Like I don't think I'll ever not like miss that, to be honest with you. Because I'm starting to get to a point now where I think I'm just going to live with that forever. It's never going to go away.
Hopefully it levels off to a point where you can trust yourself and then you can have like 1 or 2 a week, you know?
I don't even want to drink one.
I know.
Right now.
It's too early now.
I still feel like if I drink one, I'll drink 7.
Yeah.
And we have Cokes in our fridge too. And
how the hell are you doing that?
I know, they've just been in our fridge for I bought them for
good for you, man.
For Tori's party.
Good for you.
Yeah, and I haven't touched it.
Good for you. Yeah. That's impressive. Yeah, I tried it. I don't know. Like I said, I was doing the energy drink, and it was the only time I've never been a napper. I'm just not a napper. I work from home, and I still don't nap. I refuse to, and I started napping in those energy drinks because the crash was so hard that I was just like, man, I'm fucking tired. And then I realized that it was like, oh, you're consuming 300 milligrams.
Yeah.
Like, I had no idea. And I'm like, oh my God. And it was kind of tough. Even just that month, it was tough to say, no, I don't want that anymore. It was like, I was a little addicted. I was like, oh shit. But once I got out of that and I don't drink any, the caffeine stuff, then I didn't have that crash. But I also have that like a weird feeling where I don't really get that big boost in energy from caffeine because I don't drink like I don't wake up and get a coffee, right? Like a lot of people make it like a regiment thing. I don't do that. So I will consume my caffeine intakes all over the place. So I don't have like a caffeine spike or craving or anything like that. And I've been known to have like iced tea at 11:45 at night and then go right to bed. Like it's not.
Originally I was substituting my soda consumption with Arizona tea. I was drinking a ton of Arizona tea.
Those have a lot of sugar too, right?
Yeah, and then I looked into that, and Arizona tea is like not as bad for you as soda, but it's still not really good for you. And I'm like,
how many grams of sugar in there? Because they're bigger.
A lot, yeah. Well, I got like the can, like you can get a box of the can size.
I didn't know that.
They're like that size. And then I'm like, man, like this is such a minute change in health that like I got to think of something else. And then I like looked into these, and these are pretty good. And I found that I'm just searching for this like magical drink that somehow is gonna like
give me the elixir.
Yeah, and I just have to come to terms with the fact that like nothing's gonna taste like Coke ever again, But
do you think you're addicted to the sugar part of it?
I think that's part of it for sure, but also like I really do love like this. I said this before, and everyone when I say this to people, like they just laugh because they're like, "Oh, there Kyle's being funny," But like I would be in like meetings at work. And I would start like fantasizing about like drinking Coke and like tasting it. And I'd be like, and then I would like my mouth would start watering thinking about it. And then I would have to drink a Coke. Like as soon as the meeting was over, I would just book it and I would drink a Coke and I would drink the whole can in like 5 minutes, maybe long, like shorter. And that's not like when I tell people that they laugh because they think I'm joking, but I'm not joking. That's a real thing.
Damn.
That I would do.
Wow. I don't crave soda. I crave the bubbles. Yeah. I love that feeling that like
carbonation.
Yeah, that carbonation just hits you. It feels good. That's why the Soda Stream that I have is like a cheat code because I could just water right from the fridge, boom. Carbonated.
I know
it's just so good.
For me, I know it's not just the carbonation because like soda water and like sparkling water and
then do it
and
for you.
These do not do the same.
They pale compared to the Coke. You won't be dreaming of a poppy.
This is like the patch, and Coke is the cigarettes.
I got in a whole argument with my parents about carbonated water is just as good for you as regular water. They didn't believe me.
What do you mean? What is the?
They say it's not.
Okay, give me the counter argument.
What
was their argument?
Their argument is that it can't be the same. It's got bubbles. They got to put something in it to get the bubbles. I was like, yes, they put carbon monoxide, but
dioxide.
Dioxide's but too. But
I could probably agree with that because like CO2 really it's not digested by your body and you do like burp it up. That probably at some level has some adverse effect at like some kind of effect, but it is water.
Yeah,
there's
and
nothing
I mean
for you to digest.
Like is that
I looked it up.
Significant enough to
all the studies say that it's just like drinking normal water.
Well, I mean that's what they want you to think, Dylan.
That's what Big Water wants.
That's what Big Water wants you to think.
So
I mean, bubbles
negative side effects is the carbonation in.
I can see it giving you heartburn. And
like
things like
carbonated water, like seltzer water, it could lead to gas, bloating, or acid reflux.
Yeah, acid reflux.
But ultimately, it's not harmful in and of itself.
So I would actually.
I do know that if they say you have like GERD, like which I do, you're supposed to limit your intake on carbonated drinks.
Because it just bubbles back up. Yeah. So I think they're correct. Like on a spectrum, is it way worse for you? No, it's probably boop, just right there. But I would not say. I would say the best thing to drink is water. Right. That would be my argument. It's not the exact same thing. There is a slight difference, and in those instances, like if you have GERD or whatever, you shouldn't do it.
But if you don't have GERD,
If there's nothing, let's put
If
it
you
this
don't
way.
have, it's not gonna hurt you.
Let's put it this way: nothing that will you ever be recommended to not drink water.
Yeah.
There is certain cases where you are recommended to not drink carbonated water.
True,
right?
true.
So there's.
Well, if you have rabies, you're afraid of water.
But not, you're afraid of water, but
You have
man,
an
you
irrational.
get down
That's the actual
That's
secret
so
when someone has
true.
rabies is
Give them
you have to
carbonated.
give them carbonated water,
Give 'em Coke.
and they're having an irrational fear of that. It's just
Just still water.
in that case, it's better for you.
I would agree with I could see it. I wouldn't say it's like a dramatic. I don't think it's a dramatic difference. But also, carbonated drinks have not been a thing for that long. I think it's like the 40s or something. Like it has not been around that long. So imagine all of human history, except for
It's
the last
been around.
two
I want to
generations,
say for
three
at least
generations.
100 years.
You think so?
I do. I think so.
I thought I was reading something that it was invented late.
Time to find out.
When was carbonated drinks invented?
I was way wrong. 1767. Well, that's when they decide to. Oh, Schweppes. 1783 is when it was invented, and then Coca-Cola in
See, that-
1886.
A couple hundred years then, not just.
Kyle
100.
knows his history on bubbles.
Well, I just started thinking.
Don't dare question Kyle
like-
on
You're right.
carbonated
What the
drinks.
fuck was I thinking?
I knew
I don't know.
like root
I'm
beer
losing
was
that battle
invented.
10 times out of 10.
Like I just started thinking about. It. I'm like, I know root beer was invented in the 1800s, and it has relatively, kind of been the same. And I'm like, so it had to have been around since at least that.
Originally thought to have medicinal properties, sold in pharmacies, later flavored with syrups.
Fruit syrups.
The easy to
It was a
open
tonic.
soda. Okay, maybe I was thinking of the soda,
The soda
can.
can.
In the 1950s, it looks like that
Makes
was when
sense.
it was.
Yeah, everything was bottled before then.
Because then they had you pulled the syrup, right? They call them soda jerks, right?
Yeah.
You pulled the syrup, and then
You did the syrup, then the carbonated water.
did you carbonate after syrup?
I think you
I
did
think you-
syrup first, then carbonation.
Boy, that sounds like a disaster. Because in the soda stream, it's the exact opposite.
You would literally
Carbonate
well,
and then add the syrup. Because that syrup will bubble up and explode.
I saw this video of a dude doing it. He put the syrup in and then spritzed the seltzer water like in it. And then just kind of mixed it as it was going in, and then
But the seltzer water already had the bubbles.
it already had the
and
carbonation
then-
in it.
So okay.
So it's not the same. You're not carbonating the syrup. You're adding the syrup to an already carbonated drink.
Got
and that's why it
it.
doesn't like
Got
explode.
it. So when you're doing the carbonation, it's a mixture of water and
It's
carbonation.
so like the
I
original
see.
sodas was literally
I
just a
see.
syrup added to soda water.
I wonder how, like right
I mean,
now,
that's still what it is.
Yeah, it's just pre-mixed for you when you get the.
I wonder how bubbly they were back in the day. If they were even remotely like what they are now.
It's probably
uncontrolled.
Almost flat.
it's probably a lot sweeter too. I would argue.
Back in the day,
I think so.
boy, on balance, I feel like that would be so opposite.
Well, it's probably more.
'Cause they
It's
wouldn't
more
have-
organic sugar, right?
Have you ever had like a Coke made in Mexico? They make it with real sugar.
Cane sugar
Actually, I take that
cane
back.
sugar?
Yes, I have.
in the glass.
It's sweeter. It's sweet, and I imagine that's kind of like probably how it tasted a little bit more back in the day when you made it old fashioned wise. Plus, you're not accounting for the human error, when you're making it. Everything is so controlled now. Like everything has the exact same measurements in every can, versus back in the day when you had your bus boy throwing together
Yeah.
your Coke for you. It's not like how often were they filling it exactly with the exact
Right.
amount every,
Yeah.
But I just feel like we have such a palate for sweetness now that it's jacked to 10 versus back in the day, just a couple drops. It was like, wow, this is really sweet. And it really only had 8 grams of sugar because they
Gee
just
Willikers.
didn't eat any. They didn't have candy,
They did have candy.
Well,
So-
not at the
Saltwater
levels-
taffy.
Yeah, not at the
According to
level-
historical
that's not even really
information,
sweet. I mean,
soda
it
was
is, but-
generally considered sweeter back in the day because most sodas used pure cane sugar as
So-
a sweetener
So
rather than some kind of synthetic.
But wait, we use synthetic sugar?
Wow, not synthetic, but not cane
Artificial.
sugar. Artificial, I guess is
But regular Coke has sugar.
it has artificial sugar.
what.
No,
Well, like
not
not-
the sucralose. And
Yeah.
stuff, that's diet soda.
It doesn't use cane sugar though. It uses
it's not natural sugar.
high fructose corn syrup. right?
Coke Zero. I'm looking it up
Is
right
that
now.
where it gets its sugar from? High fructose corn
Well, I
syrup?
know
So
that they
yeah,
sell-
so Coke is sweetened with high fructose corn syrup, not
So a
cane
processed
sugar. So it's a
version
processed.
of.
So
But when you-
synthetic's not
you
the right
can
word, but not
buy-
natural.
Like I know Pepsi sells like cane sugar.
Yeah, they have the
Pepsi,
old kind.
and it's the same price.
So with Coke, you just buy the Mexican Coke.
And then that tastes sweeter.
Yeah.
Weird that both are measured in the same stat category. Is that not weird? Is
What do
that
you
not
mean?
weird? Am
What?
I overthinking the fact that so you got one that's real sugar,
Uh-huh.
which is measured in sugar. And right, like on the nutritional information, you see the sugar,
Yeah.
which that makes sense. And then you've got this abstraction of what sugar is through high fructose corn syrup,
which is a
then measured
sweetener.
in sugar. Is that not weird?
Well, is there sugar in high
'Cause you're
fructose corn syrup?
yeah, but if you're telling me, what's that?
Is there sugar in high fructose corn syrup? Like, are they measuring what's in the corn syrup?
They have to be.
So I think that's what it is.
But isn't that like that's like saying
Because I mean, I think
that's
I
like
see.
saying you ordered a ribeye and then they ground it up and served you a hamburger and said, well, it's
So the sugar is I think it has to do with like the like chemical makeup of it. Sugar is sugar. High fructose corn syrup is a mixture of 55% fructose and 40% glucose, which is like two derivatives, and so like it's there's more that goes into it than just sugar. So like cane sugar, is it like that much more healthy for you than high fructose corn syrup? Not really, but it is a little bit
not
sweeter
processed.
and it's not processed.
as much.
Yeah.
But then the sweetness of a drink, that's just strange. Because you know what I mean? Because like if you would have asked me, what makes a drink sweet, which two drinks is sweeter, I would probably look at the label and say which one has more sugar. Well, that's going to be more sweet. But now it's like we're measuring sugar in the sugar item line, but it's sugar delivered in two different ways: sugar raw, sugar processed.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? That just feels a little weird?
Well, and then you have
Never
like
thought of it like that.
Coke Zero and Diet Coke. They use sucralose, or what's it called? Stevia.
In Coke Zero,
Well, they use fake sugar,
aspartame
right?
in diet.
And the crazy thing
maybe
is, those
sucralose.
are like 1,000,000 times sweeter than sugar.
So
I
many
have a-
food products are
I
made
use
with
it for baking. It's crazy.
Many food products are made with high fructose corn syrup instead of sugar because it is significantly cheaper to produce. So like if we're looking at the difference, well, sugar, some high fructose corn may have consumed in large quantities. I guess it is weird because it's like what exactly like makes cane sugar so much better, like everyone's talking about like when I do research, they're acting like it's its own thing, its own entity. So like, why is?
And I get like a nutritional facts. You couldn't possibly, if you broke it down too much, it would lose all validity, right? If you had a category for everything, you wouldn't be able to identify certain things. So I maybe it does make sense to be in the same bucket, but that seems kind of crazy to me that would be included in the sugar column because it's not sugar. It's like something else.
It's like
You've created something else. And I get maybe what they're measuring is the sugar that went into making that something else.
Well, now
But then it's like, but where does that?
So it's just
category-
natural versus processed. But this is now saying high fructose corn syrup and table sugar contain roughly the equal amounts of fructose and glucose, meaning their metabolic effects are largely the same when consumed in similar quantities.
Largely the same.
So, all right, the
Emphasis
primary
on that word.
concern with
But you
fructose corn
you
syrup,
have
hidden sugars.
One's a corn derivative. It just seems. This is where
It's just
shit
easier
gets a
to
little
produce than cane sugar,
Yeah.
is what it seems like. But it
course, it saves them
ultimately,
money.
when you look at it, it's really not. There's not too much difference.
It's like tea.
But cane sugar is sweeter. That's the only thing I know for sure.
Weird. There you have it.
it's like tea.
But
different leaves
they're
you
all
crush down.
yeah.
You both get tea.
Listen,
But different leaves produce different flavors, and that's what kind of like my
Yeah.
point. Is like
So-
sugar tastes one way, high fructose corn syrup tastes
I'm
one
saying
way.
they're both sugar.
Stevia,
But they're both
sucralose,
sugar.
Aspartame,
They're both sugar,
aspartame.
so that's why they taste.
aspartame
it's like
is
tea
the
leaves.
worst of all of it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, that's what diet sodas are, and that one is pretty nasty. I like sucralose. I don't mind that. Stevia, I'm not a fan of. I don't.
like stevia.
No, because I use it as like a baking substitute sometimes. I have a couple recipes that recommend it because it's like way less. You use literally like you said 1,000. You use instead of like a cup of sugar, use like a teaspoon of stevia. But the baking with that stuff is fucking nightmare. It's
I like
totally
that
different.
sugar in the raw. Have you seen that brand?
Yeah.
It's like the thick crystals.
Like
Yeah,
brown
it's almost
sugar.
like brown sugar.
Yeah, but it tastes pretty good. I don't know. I mean, obviously our viewers come to us for nutritional
Yeah.
information.
Your podcast for all thing soda.
This was a 25-minute rant on something that should have taken 5 seconds. You just jumped off of a fucking cliff. Anyway, let's
The main topic tonight.
got some nice overlays for us tonight. Tonight, let's go ahead and talk about the Odyssey, Christopher Nolan's new film. Kyle, why don't you break it down for us? What we know, what we need to know.
What we need to know is
what
that
we
it's
need
a
to-
Christopher Nolan
How wrecked
film.
should I be?
I think that
I'm full
based on
mast.
his work history, I think
Full mast.
I'm full mast.
I think maybe half right now. I mean,
You start that with saying based on his history, only be half mad. Are you a hater?
yeah.
Let me
I
change the
don't
title
like
of the
his
screen.
film. I don't like
Kyle
his films.
hates.
I think he's shitty.
He's mid, bro.
Let's not get.
cap.
I mean, let's not get excited here. The subject material seems like it's going to be pretty epic. But
pun
what we
intended.
know, so the cast is a little odd. I didn't think they're all strong actors in their own right, but it does seem like a weird mix. So they got Zendaya, Tom Holland, Anne Hathaway, Matt Damon, Robert Pattinson, Charlize Theron, and Lupita
Nyong'o?
Nyong'o, is that how you say it?
Yeah.
So it's an interesting mix for sure to be in the story of the Odyssey, but it is his highest budget he's ever worked with, most expensive film he's ever made. I think adjusted for inflation, I want to say that The Dark Knight Rises still had a little bit of a higher budget, because people started actually comparing it, and adjusted for inflation, Dark Knight Rises is still a little bit higher, but this is the largest budget he's worked with since then. So I know. I mean, we'll see. It should be epic. How do you feel about how they're going to tell a story like this without him using? He's very against CGI. He's very like toxically so against CGI.
That's the only part that's making me not extreme mast.
I'm full mast, not extreme. What is
Yeah.
extreme mast?
Extreme mast. That's where it takes off. Just launches.
The flag just goes flying. It ejaculates
Yeah.
itself.
Come on, Tars.
Come on, Tars.
Face.
Well, okay. So,
Did you hear that?
yeah.
Did you hear my joke?
I'm so good.
I'm proud of you, Billy.
Thanks, man.
I knew this was an issue. We never really talked about it, but when it came to Oppenheimer, because I'm gonna say it, I don't like the nuke drop.
Yeah.
I think it's underwhelming. I think it looks bad
You're saying the nuke drop in Oppenheimer
Yeah,
looks bad.
because he refused to use CGI.
Oh, okay.
He used dynamite. He used a heck of a ton of dynamite, but you can tell it's a small explosion.
Yeah.
And I don't like it. I think if it seems so like hoity-toity, like
Petty.
I'm not gonna. It's like it was one fucking scene, and then you look at Interstellar, right? They had to use I know
Touch-up work and
stuff like that. That movie looks beautiful, and there was CGI using that, but as Kyle said, we'll talk about it here in a sec. He even had issues with that, and I don't like that whole hoity-toityness. I love his movies.
He's also weirdly against all things digital. Like he refuses to film anything with a digital camera. All of his film is actual film, and at this point, you really can't even tell. I mean, maybe you could tell a little bit of the difference, but like that just seems like being petty.
Yeah.
Like digital cameras now, there's so many films that have come out on digital that like look amazing that they refuse. Like him and a few other directors refuse to work with anything but film. And that just seems like a waste of money.
And I feel like we're getting to the point of like where people are too afraid to tell him no. And so that's how we got Oppenheimer.
Reached legend status.
Yeah, because of the movies he's come out, which, it's granted that he is legendary, but you get to like Oppenheimer where, again, I will stand on that hill that I don't like the explosion. I think it looks like crap. When you look at other movies that do nuclear explosions, you look at Godzilla -1, that looks better than whatever they have in Oppenheimer. I wonder if this movie, Odyssey, is going to be affected by that same type of, well, nobody's going to tell him it looks like crap because that's his, directorial, like, oh, he's an artist. This is how I want it to look. And I think you need people to tell you stuff looks like crap when you're a director because you get too involved in it. And sometimes you need that outside perspective. But
that's also kind of the problem of the fact that he writes, directs, his wife produces, like, he's so involved in all parts of the film. So that type of thing might escape, his, and it's his. So at the end of the day, it's his film, right? Yeah. He could do whatever he wants, but I feel differently about it after I read how he kind of treated his VFX team on Oppenheimer.
Why don't you go through that example? Because I think that's
so.
important
For
context.
people that don't know, nobody has given Christopher Nolan his praise more than us on this podcast.
That's what launched this podcast.
Yeah, we like.
That's what put us on the map.
That's what gave us our million subs. But we kind of like just through looking into the Odyssey and things like that, we found out that we've known he's always been against CGI and things like that, but he's also kind of toxically so against it in the sense that there were about 80% of the VFX team that didn't get any praise or any mention or any acknowledgement from him on Oppenheimer because they weren't working on the practical effects of it. They're working on the digital aspects of it, the touch-ups, the minor CGI things here and there, and he didn't even acknowledge them. Like he does not think
in
that they're-
Oppenheimer or in Interstellar.
in Oppenheimer.
Oh, he had
There was
digital touch-ups.
There was.
I thought that was his whole thing. That there was absolutely. Oh, he was the one that covered over it.
Yeah, he did not acknowledge.
Did you know this?
He did
I
not
thought it was
acknowledge.
Interstellar too.
No, it was Oppenheimer. He did not acknowledge like 80% of the VFX team that wasn't working
fucked
on
up, dude.
that wasn't working on just the practical effects of that film. They weren't even in the credits.
Dude, if that's true, that is dick-ish. Small dick energy.
And it really kind of
Shit.
made me have a different perspective on him, honestly.
Wow. That's really sad because, I mean, you want to be... Those people have careers and stuff. And they've built it, and
They work their
they
butt
poured
off.
their heart into that, and that was a hell of a production. I thought that whole narrative of like it only being practical is one, a lie, and two, because they had digital, and then he pushed to purposely exclude that entire team. You said 80%?
80%
That's
of the team.
ridiculous. That's really sad. That is really sad. That sounds exactly like what you were saying. Someone's ego gone
Echo
way
chamber.
too rampant.
Echo
Yeah.
chamber.
Surrounded by a bunch of yes men at this
yeah,
point
'cause,
because
I
you
mean-
just can't do any wrong.
Well, and what's hilarious while Kyle looks that up, you look at Batman Dark Knight, you look at Inception. His previous movies, those have CGI. Like Inception, the city folding in on itself, that's not practical.
No.
Like there's no way you could, and that
So,
is a great movie.
It was
by him.
practical, but it was touched up and enhanced with
that's-
CGI.
To me,
Yeah.
it's no longer practical. What the fuck does
Right.
touched up and enhanced with CGI mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I could make that argument about any scene ever. Now, obviously, he used as little as possible, but fuck, people still did work in that realm that had an impact on the film.
And that's the reason it looks as good as it does, is because they did that work.
So Chris Nolan was determined.
That's
This is
sad.
according to the cartoonbrew.com.
Yes.
Yes.
But there's a lot actually. If you just look up 80% Oppenheimer, you'll see article after article out on this. But Chris Nolan was determined to keep the VFX grounded in reality and maintain the raw feeling of the actual footage. Additionally, however, we now know that Nolan and Universal decided to not credit the majority of the film's VFX crew. The film credits list 26 crew members on VFX team, which only accounts for about 20% of the overall team. And the 26 people they list are the ones that were doing like the practical, like they just pretend they don't exist.
So we got to watch 12 minutes of credits where it lists every fucking the lady who went and got coffee one day, and the guy who walked the director's dog. We got to see all their names, but he couldn't put if that's 20%, I'm going to say we're talking 90 people here. 80, 90 people that weren't credited who worked on this film, who had a direct impact on the outcome of this film. That is dickish energy, man. That's really sad.
So yeah, this has definitely altered my perception of the man. Now I can still separate the art from the artist,
sure,
because I love his films, and it's not going to change my opinion of his movies. But it does paint him in a new light for me that he would do something like that. And for people that think like, oh, it's not a big deal or whatever, that is a huge deal. Like these are people that are putting their lives into this. So they've been their career. Who knows how many hours they worked on this while the film was going? They're probably doing 12 hours a day.
This guy sounds like Steve Jobs, like with the whole. I mean, they made that whole movie with him and Steve Wozniak, where he's like, just give them credit for the,
And he refuses.
And he refused constantly, profusely, refused. He said, saw it as. The only money that they famously, what is this? Who played him? What's his name? Seth Rogen. Seth Rogen.
Seth Rogen played Steve Wozniak.
He's like the only money this company's ever made was from that product launch, and
at least at that point, it's true. And then Apple took over the world, but yeah. So I mean, am I still excited for the Odyssey? Yes, of course I am. But I just hope that in the future, he at least gives credit where credit is due, because that's kind of, like you said, it's kind of a dickish, shitty thing to do. So that's how I feel about it right now. Kind of makes me, like I used to be such a Nolan simp, and I never have I changed my opinion of someone so quickly after reading an article like that.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's like this is like gross. Like, why would you do that?
Well, and the whole idea, what does that mean? It was touched up and enhanced by CGI. That to me is...
I think the idea behind it is the core of the effect practical, or is the core of the effect CGI? And so like the core of all of his effects are practical, versus you look at a Marvel film, the core of those effects are CGI. You know what I mean?
You're gonna tell me they didn't get real footage of them blowing planets?
You wouldn't be able to do like
Marvel can do anything. Disney,
they have they can't even do CGI lately. So
that's crazy. I think that's where an art form can sort of, your process can corrupt certain things. I have no doubt that this movie is going to be a banger, probably.
Yeah.
The cast, people supporting it, that's awesome. Sucks to hear this. I'd be curious to hear his opinion on that. I wonder if he's ever given an interview of like why he didn't credit them. Maybe they worked on stuff
I think
that
he
they
said
didn't end up
he
using.
forgot. But that's not a...
God. Yeah, the thing that you haven't had a crusade against your whole fucking career.
Like,
whoops.
To be clear, this is me just reading surface level articles, but there's lots of things saying that he forgot to credit. And, weirdly, people aren't that upset at him about this. They still are like...
because it's Christopher Nolan.
Like, Christopher Nolan, like,
Look at the people who simped to Steve Jobs. He can do no wrong, and now, then he passes away, and like the books came out about him. You're like, oh, this guy kind of sucked, actually.
But these are the films that made him an Oscar winner.
Yeah,
Oppenheimer. That's where he got his best director. Like all of that stuff. So yeah.
Well, the Oscars, they only give it to the best people. So.
Sometimes
they're real winners,
and they give it to only the people who really truly deserve it.
Yep.
So
they'll miss every now and then. But I think Save for a few outliers, I can see the reasoning behind most Best Picture winners. But there are some that I'm like, really? did that deserve to win Best Picture?
What won Best Picture recently? Most recent?
Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer?
Yeah. Has there been an Oscar since then?
They just did one.
It hasn't come out yet this year.
Didn't they just do one like 2 weeks ago?
No.
Or I guess
That was Golden
that
Globes.
was. Oh yeah.
Yeah, you think
Yeah.
I would know because my favorite comedian in the world, Conan O'Brien, is hosting the Oscars this year. So
Oh, there you go. I could give a shit about any of those awards show.
no, I really couldn't either. But I do love Conan O'Brien, so I'll probably still watch it.
Not if they dropped brand new movie trailers in between awards.
Well, you know,
It's the Game Awards.
So that's just to say.
But the movie
To
awards.
even be more honest, I could give a shit about the Game Awards show too. I don't. Yeah, I feel like the Game Awards is like niche enough to be like, yeah, we're celebrating creators, but it's getting to a size where, and it's so not, because how many times we talked about where gaming is larger than music and film combined.
Yeah. I think award shows in general is still a little like just rich people patting themselves on
Jerking
the
each other
back.
off.
You
Yeah.
know? Like they don't really do stuff like that in the real world. Like how many? I mean, yeah, there are awards you can get in certain careers and stuff, but they just it's not the same. You know, like it's not like this. You don't give up and give a speech and start crying when you win Employee of the Month. Like
I've been working so
thank
hard
my
for this.
family.
I know we
Probably
don't
would
get
if I
awards.
was all of a sudden making millions.
I mean, I would. I can't blame them.
Well, that's
know,
the thing,
like-
right? Like when you go from non-Oscar to Oscar winner, you triple your billfold, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you still have to be strategic about like because there are examples of people winning the Oscar
And then bombing.
and then bombing and then losing it all after. But like, so you still have to be strategic about the roles you
Sure.
select and what you do. But like, I would feel like in Hollywood, if you have an Oscar, it significantly increases your negotiating power as far as wage and things like that. Like you go from making $1 million a film to 10 to 20 easy after winning an Oscar.
Even being nominated, I feel like, is just a big deal.
Oh, they put it in the titles. Oscar nominee,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
They should, you know what
Winner
they
of
should do?
best film.
Yeah.
Just make everyone nominated. Everyone could be
MTV Movie
There's
Awards
12
Best
nominations.
Kids nominee Ryan Gosling.
from 1886.
You saw him in The Notebook.
Yeah.
It was an award winning.
Award-winning nominee extra.
That's
This is the dude in the background.
that's why I hate when movies are like from the producers of. And
It's like the
this other
producers
movie.
didn't do anything except give them the money.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, the producers of John Wick are making this. Yeah.
Do you think that's the case?
Producers
I've
have a lot of say in like how product ends up and things like that. But ultimately, as far as the creative process goes, they really are all kind of just buying, like fronting the money and then getting paid on the back end.
Keith says, have you seen The Brutalist? They need to put it available to rent.
The Brutalist.
What's that?
Brutalist.
I didn't
Look it
even
up.
heard of it.
Look it up. Yeah.
The Brutalist to rent, huh?
The Brutalist. Just came
2020
out.
film. Who's in it?
Adrian Brody.
Oh yeah, he just won a Golden Globe for this.
Damn, it's got really good reviews.
Epic period drama. What's the
Visionary architect comes to America to rebuild his life. His own strange new company sells in Pennsylvania with a wealthy, prominent industrialist recognizes his talent.
Yeah, no,
I'd definitely check this out. Is it
watch
on?
the trailer?
Yeah, is it on? What
Look
is it
where it's
on?
streaming. Just like where's the
I don't think
Brutalist
it's streaming. I think it's in theaters right now. Because right now, usually it'll come up right here, right, as streaming options. Where
You
to
could
watch?
Just search, yeah.
Yeah,
Brutalist streaming.
yeah. It just came out December 20th in
in
Canada.
Canada.
I don't know what that
Release
means.
dates though are so short now for films.
And that's what he's saying. It's not
Has a
available to rent.
built-in 15-minute intermission in theaters.
This sounds very interesting. It's not even that long of a movie, is it? Very small budget too for this kind of that recognizable actor.
Oh, it's an A24 film, which they usually have pretty good movies.
Yeah.
Built. We talked about this. Oh, it's
Yeah.
3.5 hours. Oh shit, 3 hours and 45 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're
Not that long.
I thought it said 1 hour. The screen's too far away.
1 hour with a 15-minute.
That's what I was saying. I was like, wow, that's kind of interesting. We talked about this where films are getting to a length where you might want that intermission. I am on the side of not. I think
Dylan and I think said we want longer films with an intermission.
Yeah.
We want 4-hour films.
I'm that guy that like needs to be pulled in, and that intermission just cuts it. And then you have to rebuild that energy a second.
Well, that's why you have the other 2 hours to.
Yeah, but you now as a film, you have to hook people twice.
Yeah.
So
I
they need
think
to be better.
But I think it's even. But I think that's a mega challenge.
Well, then they need to get better at making films.
I feel like I can contain, I can keep my excitement going over 15-minute intermission. I don't think it would lose me that quickly. Like if it's like an hour intermission.
Especially, like imagine if it's a cliffhanger intermission, you're like,
yeah, I don't think it would lose me in 15 minutes. That's really quick to lose my interest.
I wouldn't lose interest, but I just feel like the energy gets sucked out, right? What if you're fucking loving the movie, and then the guy next to you is like, "This fucking thing sucks," because it's that intermission, or someone's, you're taking a piss, in the bathroom, and someone's bashing the movie.
I think
that
there
you're
should
like really
still
into it,
be
like
an etiquette to being in the theater. If he starts screaming,
well,
have you ever
thing
met
is-
people?
those things exist even without the intermission.
people will say that during the film. Take me out of it.
You both are musical people though, and I can't.
I
say
don't
that.
know about musical.
So you
people.
like your little breaks, Keith says he needs a little smoke
I've-
break to refuel.
I've never
get
seen a
it.
musical live, like at Broadway.
That's cute. You dream of it.
I don't.
He's just mad that we have a different opinion
know.
than him. So he's
I'm a mad boy tonight. I'm an angry
don't be
boy.
upset. It's all right.
Chill out.
Chill,
Um,
chill, daddy.
No, I'm advocating for my personal opinion,
and it's
and
wrong.
I don't want that energy to go. I feel like that's a difficult thing to brew within an audience, and I think Oppenheimer is a good example of that, right?
And,
that build up to the bomb. I mean, where do you cut those movies? Like
It cuts right. It's like
3, 2, and it stops there. Intermission. You come back and it just goes off. I don't know. I just feel like that's a lot more work on the film. Now, Keith might say, "Oh, it worked." Obviously, he's recommending it, but I don't know. That's a tough ask.
I get it, but I think it wouldn't make sense if it's not a 4-hour film. You're not going to go in and watch
Sure.
a 2-hour movie with an intermission. I get that
Lord of
would
the Rings
make me
Extended
feel.
Edition.
Lord of the Rings Extended Edition, I feel like would be better served with an intermission.
100%.
Yeah.
Those movies, I feel like I could, when I was watching it, I felt like I could go to the bathroom, do stuff, come back, and it was a slow build momentum for me for those movies.
Yeah.
He says, "Think Dune 2 has a chance at the Oscars after all these months? Is it up?
Yeah.
What year is it, man? I feel like Dune 2 came out so long ago.
Dune, this is for everything last year. Dune 2 came out last year.
Did it come out last year?
Yeah,
When? Like
Maybe you're
super
thinking
early?
of the first Dune.
It came
You
out
know
like
what's
middle of the year.
stupid? I read that Hans Zimmer can't be nominated for an Oscar for Dune 2
Because
because the soundtrack is built too much off of Dune 1 soundtrack.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah,
What?
they're like, it's not original enough to be considered for best original score.
If you feel that way, use that in your judgment.
yeah.
And don't vote for him. But he should not be expelled or whatever, left out.
Excluded, yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you, excluded for that. That's a shitty example.
Hans Zimmer deserves better.
Wow.
he does.
Okay, March last year he saes Dune 2. Wow, I must have
I mean,
slept.
That's what
half
happens
the
when
year.
you
stands
work
a
from home.
chance.
You lose
They
out
blur.
on.
Bro, it'll be like, it's Friday already? Oh my God.
what other films do you think?
I'm a mega fan of Dune 2.
Okay.
I walked out of that film thinking that was so good. The music, for one.
I watched it twice.
I've watched
in theaters.
Oh, in theaters? Look at you, big boy. I've watched, I think,
Look at you.
4 times in last year.
Dune
alone.
2? 4 times?
Yes.
Wow.
Twice on a plane. It was on there, and it was a long flight, and I'm like, fuck it.
Like back to back or
No,
once
different
there,
flights.
once back?
No, different flights. Like one time,
You're
I
like,
went
this is so good. I'm ready for round 2.
it was the longest flight of my life.
Looks like it's Dune
Fucking
time.
7-hour flight. No, once to Miami and once to Chicago, but in totally different months. But what is the culture that's the super pale people?
I
can't. I'm blanking on it. What's albino? My people.
Us.
I watched it over 10 times in theater. My God, Keith.
What a fan.
I don't think I've ever watched a film 10 times in theater. That's pretty fucking nuts.
Film. I've never watched film more than twice in the theater.
He's the biggest at the table.
Shang-Chi,
what,
Six?
5, 6 times.
5?
6 times.
Yeah, 6 times I thought.
Wild. Absolutely wild.
All like different friend groups, and then
Yeah, it was like organic, right? Yeah, it wasn't like you went.
No, I went with my friends. Then I took my parents. Then I think I went with another friend group, and then another, and then
And then me.
Just you and
Just me.
Yeah. I have gone on movie dates with Dylan. Just him and I.
oh, nice.
I can't.
Arrakis is the
Is it?
the planet.
Yeah, I think we figured it out last time. But anyway, that culture where we go with the throat singing people
The Krogans.
on screen, it probably wasn't any more than 20 minutes. But you left there with a lasting impact of what that culture stood for. And the depth that they were able to drive. Who directed that film? Do we know?
Dennis Villeneuve.
Fucking
He did
killed it.
Arrival.
He does a lot of good
Yes.
sci-fi.
Yes.
I love Arrival.
He also did Blade Runner 2049.
Yes.
Phenomenal.
He said
built-
every movie he made was because he was inspired by
Just a
Dune,
fan.
and every movie he made was for the sole purpose of eventually getting the rights to be able to do Dune.
Harkonnens. Dude,
Yes,
thank you,
that's
Keith,
what
for
it is.
coming in clutch. That culture, really a small part in one. And I'm so glad. I remember watching Dune 1, and I was the first of the 3 of us to watch it. And I remember saying it was like, I felt like I watched half of a movie because it really was like setting everything up, and then you're just like left with nothing. I could have probably done without Christopher Walken being like the Emperor. I don't know. That was like a little weird casting, but he didn't do a bad job. He kind of played this perfect airhead dude that just kind of had all power. But for me, when I'm trying to get into a sci-fi, I have to have that sense of world building.
There was a
And-
bunch of world building.
So much world building.
So good.
And the Harkonnens, where he changes like the color palette in which
'Cause the
he
sun-
films it. Yes.
is a dark sun or whatever. I forget what they call it, but
It was so fucking
Did you have you watched the show yet on HBO Max?
No, we talked about this last time, and I'm like, "There's a show,"
Yeah.
and I know I haven't watched it.
I haven't either, but it's been
neither.
getting
Has it
pretty good
been-
reviews. So.
I'm looking forward. This year, the MMO comes out, and it's a survival MMO. I have no idea how that gameplay is going to be. We've been teased a couple times. It looks
just
interesting.
in a blank open desert with nothing to do.
Yeah, you
and
gotta
then
go grab-
You got to avoid the
Loot some
sandworms.
spice and then run
Yeah.
back.
This is so fun.
Yeah, it was shot with infrared. No way that's true. That would be weird, right? I can see because it wasn't like a grayscale. It wasn't just that. There was also some enhancements. Some Christopher Nolan enhancements.
some CGI. We're
Dune
not
Part
gonna
2
talk-
and Fort Apache are both shot with infrared.
Damn.
Infrared cinematography uses infrared film or cameras to capture light that is outside of the visible spectrum. This can create a surreal, dreamlike effect.
Damn. Okay.
So, like,
You got me.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I felt like. It felt like a vision. Dude, that movie, I'm going to watch it again
So
tonight.
I totally, I can see it winning. Or I think it's got a chance at the Oscars.
Well, what's it up
What
against,
else?
Kyle?
Yeah,
You got
what
a-
else?
You got a list of the...
let's
Oscar
see.
nominees.
Oscar
There was that weird one, right? The
Pull it up on here.
I could. The
Oscar nominations have been delayed due to the LA fires. Oh, yeah. Sorry that they're not doing that when
Wow.
devastation is. So, we'll see what happens when they announce it.
Best
Oh,
picture
Gladiator 2.
predictions.
That one.
These are predictions. These are not
Yeah,
nominations.
sure. But you kind of, I mean, how often?
Wicked.
You can kind of look at the Golden Globes,
Anora.
like the winners of that, to get a feel for what the.
Conclave.
Hey, The Brutalist is on here. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Complete
I'm
Unknown,
definitely going to have to check
Dune.
that out.
I've
Emilia
only
Perez,
seen one.
Dune Part 2. The Nickel Boys.
Nickel Boys looks interesting. It's like a first-person movie.
Like Hardcore Henry,
Yeah, but not action.
not campy.
No.
Honestly, this is here. I guess let me cut to.
I think that Dune Part 2 has a pretty good chance. I'll have to check out the Brutalist. I know Amelia Perez is getting a.
I heard
some buzz around
Nora
that.
Pull it
one
up
quite
on
a
the
bit
screen
too.
here. Honestly, this is a pretty weak year. If I'm looking at this.
Well, I mean, we haven't seen all these, so how would we?
Well, I think that's part of it, right? Like if
Yeah.
a film breaks through as a culture, you would. I couldn't even name half these before I saw this list, right? Conclave. I wouldn't think. Oh,
you
yeah,
didn't watch
Conclave.
All We Imagine as Light? As Light?
No.
Janus.
Didn't we watched it? Dylan and you and me watched that.
Uh huh.
You don't remember?
Were we holding hands?
We were.
Yeah,
Was it beautiful?
It was a special moment.
we all. Had
I
the
thought
one
it was,
blanket.
at least.
I thought that this was a big deal, but apparently you're just not as close as
See, Keith even agrees with me. Yeah, this shit's weak. I totally agree.
compared. Yeah,
But the
mean, it's
second
no
thing, so
Endgame.
Dune.
I just. my thing is, I haven't seen all of these movies,
Yeah.
so I don't know
Sure.
if it's fair for me to say.
But I
it's
think that
weak,
that's part
but-
of it, right? Is like if there's a movie that's an absolute banger, you think you would hear about it as a and be like,
Yeah.
oh, I need to go see that. But
I think
Gladiator 2 is the only one. But
last year I think was a better, more competitive list.
what's this?
Real next in line. So these are other predictions.
predictions? Yeah, what about Nosferatu? That got amazing reviews.
The Wild Robot.
It's a
should.
horror film, so people aren't gonna,
Can a horror film ever win on principle alone? Like
It's
the
genre-
best picture? you
Genre films in general have a hard time
Yeah.
competing. So
think?
like
That's interesting. I
Yeah.
never thought of that.
the only genre films that have like been able to kind of push through have been like Lord of the Rings. Like I guess Dune is a pretty good example of being able to push through. But for the most part, genre films have to be not only the best but
Like
significantly better.
transcend the genre.
Yeah.
They have to be significantly better than everything else because genre films are up against Hollywood. I don't know what it is.
So that would suck if Dune 2 wins, right? Then you're telling me like the soundtrack. No, it won't win best soundtrack or best.
It can't be
original.
nominated.
It's
That's
a stuffy old
stupid.
room with old ass
That's
people that don't know
stupid.
what they're talking about. Also,
What about challengers?
Hans Zimmer might be the one advocating for it. Like, give it to somebody else, guys. I got it.
He's like,
He's like, guys, it's all right. I understand.
yeah, he's like, it's okay.
I got it.
I don't need to know.
Only reason I found he
award.
hasn't said anything about it. The only reason I found out was because Dennis was his name Villanueva.
Yeah,
Only reason I found out is he mentioned how upset he is about it. That Hans Zimmer is not allowed to be
I
nominated.
can imagine.
Yeah,
That's a big bummer.
because it's not original enough to be considered
That's
an
so
original soundtrack.
That's
it's
so
a
bad.
sequel.
Yeah, that's the point. It's supposed
Yeah.
to build off of. Yeah. Did you ever
The
check
main
out
reason, Keith says, the main reason is that Hans actually did win an Oscar for the first Dune. But still, like, who gets to decide it's too similar? They already had a pre-vote on this.
Well, they were like, we already gave you an Oscar for the
That's my point.
first one you don't deserve.
Wait, what? That's my point. Like,
You did an amazing job. I'm sure.
Like, that should go into your final vote. You should just be like, you don't even get to participate.
You bitch.
You bitch. Whatever, man. This is a pretty weak tea year. But yeah, Keith says that Nosferatu because it only came out two weeks ago. But I feel
did
like
it not come out in 20? Oh, it came out in 2023
24.
or 24. God, it's sorry.
Barely,
2025.
but yes, came out in
Do you work
December.
from home now?
I think.
Is it like
November,
a cutoff of?
Yeah,
some
what I guess what
random-
is the cutoff?
Because like in
Is
the
it like
Game
December
Awards,
I mean,
14th?
if it's here, it probably falls in the cutoff.
yeah, you're right.
Variety would probably know more about it
Yeah.
than we do.
You're right.
I do. Has an animated movie ever made it to Best Picture?
Some have been nominated, but I don't think. I think honestly, weirdly enough, I think Snow White, 1930 something.
You know what you reminded
One.
me? Spirited Away was nominated.
Don't tell me the fucking horse movie.
No, that's Spirit.
That's
Oh,
Spirit.
okay.
Spirited Away,
You're about to get so angry.
and it was up
Worst
against.
movie I've ever paid for.
I gotta look it up.
I was with my dad. I didn't even pay for it. I was a child. So my dad, my brother, and I, think about the fucking most bro dudes you ever met. We go watch Spirit. All right, Kyle. Imagine the pain that was felt on the way home, where all three of us are trying to make excuses of that. Yeah, thanks, Dad. We had a great time hanging out. Yeah, not a good one. Not a good one to go.
You guys didn't resonate and connect with Spirit.
You didn't feel like
This was the days where you were like, let's go see a movie. And then you walked to the movie theater and you just read through the list. And we're like, oh.
There was no pre-order. You just walked in,
yes.
you know.
And you go, oh, it looks like it's Western themed.
I can't even imagine going to the theaters anymore and not having a dedicated seat. Like,
Right?
remember when you used to have to fight for spots?
Like Neanderthals.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
And then when they came out with that, I remember initially thinking, oh, man, like, now I got to pick my spots. And now it's like, oh, I want to pick my spot. You remember you used to have to, like, get in line early?
Yeah, you
had
have
to,
to line
get
up
there
early.
early. Dude, all that energy
You have
sucked out
to-
of movies.
I know, but there was definitely a certain, like enthusiasm and, like, vibe and atmosphere that you
Yeah.
used to get in movies that you don't get anymore.
Well,
Going to the movies used to be like an event.
dude, I
It
know.
was like a thing.
When's the
you
last
know?
time, other than like a release night film, that you were in a theater that was even half full?
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen. You can go prime time on like a Saturday.
You could see the most random rom-com on like literally like a matinee in the middle of the week and the theater would be full back in the day.
Yes.
Like some random like
yeah, it would. You had to like get here 15 minutes early.
something's got to
get
give.
seat.
We got to go to the theater.
That's so true. Yeah. Keith says more so to the fact that Dune is still so popular after coming out so long ago. Yeah, I think if as long as you had the release time within that window, I think you should be judged. You fit as long as you fit in the category, you'll be judged appropriately.
Well, the Oscars had a category like movies for impact, or not Oscars, the Golden Globes. So they have like a different. I don't forget what it's called exactly, but it's a different category now, specific to like blockbusters.
What?
Yeah.
But it's like Best Picture.
There's the Best Picture is separate, and then there's its own category, like the I forget what it's called.
So that you could give things like Marvel Endgame.
Yeah,
It's credence. Because I remember that was always a big deal because like no Marvel film ever won shit because it was Marvel genre.
Yeah, what is
film,
it?
Right.
yeah. So
Breakthrough genre.
there's now a category called. It's been since 2023, but there's a category called cinematic and box office achievement. So you can now get a Golden Globe. So the category is
So
for
if you're
films.
merely popular, then that can get
Specifically, if the category is for films that grossed at least 100 million domestically and 150 million worldwide, and like basically the best of those.
you that way. I feel like that's a pretty low bar.
100, so
100 million. I mean, I feel like
250 million
Nosferatu broke 100 million.
cinematic
Probably.
and box office achievement. Imagine saying that that's a low bar, 250 million.
Well,
Back
250
in the
million,
day-
I feel like is appropriate. You said 100 million. Is it 250?
100 million domestically, 150 million worldwide. It has to hit both of those.
Right.
I think so. So 150 million domestically and 100 million domestically and 150 million worldwide. I think so 250 million total.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
You're right. International. Okay. Well, no, worldwide would include the U.S., though. You said worldwide, not international, right?
He said international.
Worldwide is the Wikipedia.
So it's probably including domestic.
So
Yeah,
150 million?
Doesn't that seem low? Like, I feel
That
like
does
a
seem a
lot
little-
of films...
A lot of films break that.
250 seems maybe even a little... Like, for box... I guess I'm comparing it to the 1.2 billion, but you don't get those every year.
Yeah.
Right? Those maybe
You're starting to
every
get to a
2 or
point where
3
it feels
years.
like you do.
Yeah, that's actually true. Made to give Barbie an award. Well, I didn't see Barbie. I didn't do the Barbenheimer.
He didn't do Barbenheimer? I didn't either.
like
But I
we
watched
saw-
Barbie.
We saw Oppenheimer together.
Yeah.
Unless you went to Barbie before I got
I
there.
actually
but
was in 2 places at once. I unlocked the time stone.
how much money does a movie need
you know
to
what
make
the
to-
You know what the last movie that was nominated, animated movie that was nominated for Best Picture was?
Didn't
What?
Kyle say it's Snow White?
I think that's the last one that won. Could be
Oh,
wrong,
just
though.
nominated.
Mhm.
Let me think. Oh, had to be Sonic. Or
Sonic?
or Ready Player One or whatever, right? With
Sonic and Ready Player One are not
No,
even
so-
close to the same movie.
To give you a hint. So Best Picture, this one won Best Picture. After this year, they came up with an own category of Best Animated Film.
okay, so we're going way back.
Yeah. What do you think it was? It won Best Picture.
Lion King,
No, wasn't it Snow White?
No. The last one.
Oh, I don't know.
Toy Story,
Shrek.
Shrek 2.
Shrek
The
won.
first Shrek was nominated for Best Picture.
And it won.
I believe it. And then they were like, "We can't have this disgusting film. We need its
It
own
needs its
category.
own
It needs to go
category."
back in the corner. You're not allowed." Shrek.
Shrek won for Best. This might be blasphemous, but I don't think it deserved Best Picture. What was it up against? Oh,
You guys playing footsie?
That's right.
always. Oscar winner. No, it was the Oscar winner for Best Animated Feature.
Yeah, Keith. Shrek won Best Picture according to Dylan.
It did not win. It won Best Animated Feature. It didn't win Best Picture.
Right
That's
here.
what Dylan just said.
I'm on IMDb.
Ooh, what's your source?
Oh, I read it wrong.
Oh,
Shrek was the first ever film to
Keith,
win the Best
we let you
Animated.
down.
Okay, it was the first ever film to win Best Animated.
The way they had it
Wait,
worded,
wait,
though-
wait. It was the first. Because the category was brand new.
Yeah,
Okay.
because the way.
Wait a minute.
How is Shrek the first? Okay, but it was invented.
So
that
the
year.
question on here is, what was the first animated movie to win Best Picture? It says Shrek. It says, however, this was the last time an animated film was in consideration for Best Picture. So that's confusing.
Are you
That's
reading
very
the AI
confusing.
recap?
No, just
Gemini?
the people who ask.
Okay. No animated film has ever
Who are
won the
these
Academy
people?
Award for Best Picture. However, 3 animated films have been nominated. They are Beauty and the Beast, Up,
Toy
and
Story.
Toy Story. Toy Story 3 specifically. I thought Snow White won. Like,
It wasn't good enough.
I don't know. I can't stop thinking about Dune 2 right now. He said, "Agaib, Agaib." So good. I don't even know what that actor's name is, but he's a fucking stud.
Benicio del Toro.
Sure,
That's his name.
I know. I'll take your word for it.
Have
Fucking
you
stud.
guys seen The
He
Substance?
said, "Agaib."
Wicked? You guys seen Wicked? I think Wicked probably has a pretty good chance to win. Along with
To win nothing.
Didn't Emilia Perez that one what just happened? Was it the Golden Globes?
Yeah, I don't know.
It won like best soundtrack or something like that over Wicked, which people were all upset about.
Which Honora won it?
No,
Amelia
Emilia
Perez.
Perez.
Oh, I have no reference for any of these.
Zoe Saldana won a Golden Globe for it, whatever role she played.
She plays Emilia Perez.
Like the main person.
It looks like an interesting movie.
Well, let's talk about something important here.
Dune Part 2.
Dune Part 2 MMO. Survival MMO. You guys interested at all?
No.
That does not entice me. I'm sorry.
Instantly
Me
we're like,
neither, really, but I'm gonna try. I don't know what the monetization model is. I really haven't seen that much, but it's the biggest MMO supposedly to drop this year, or at least to be announced to be dropping this year. And I like the IP enough to where I might give it a shot. I'm not a big survival game dude. It's gonna come down to the gameplay.
what
but-
would your dream Dune video game be?
Oh
I
God.
don't know if Dune is like a good.
Yeah, I don't know what the gameplay is in Doom.
Well, that's what I'm saying. What would it be? Your dream one?
Honestly, probably a survival game because the
Survival?
whole concept
Like
is
Minecraft.
maintaining water.
It wouldn't be like a political intrigue, like choice-based game where you're choosing.
That'd be pretty
know.
good too. Like Telltale,
The politics,
Yeah.
Dune.
the politics are phenomenal, but I don't really
I could
care
see a
about
Telltale Dune
could see
as well
like
as I
a-
could see a survival. I mean, the MMO is a survival one.
Telltale game, I think, would be good in that universe.
Yeah.
political factions, different houses.
Yeah.
Well, that's one. Like again, I haven't seen a bunch of gameplay for it, but Dune game, let's go, dude. Oh, you're hyped for it? Me fucking too. I'm gonna fucking play it for about 10 minutes and then make my choice. It really comes down to gameplay, honestly. Like if it's all about me jumping into an instance, doing some gameplay loop, coming out and like depositing my resources, just like oh God, what's the game that I'm thinking of? It's a shooter game, and you basically like
Call of Duty.
no. Oh my God, why am I blanking on this
Division.
game? It is one of the most popular games.
BattleBit.
Player unknown PUBG.
Fortnite.
It's not any of the, you guys won't get it. You I don't think either of you would be
Counter-Strike.
familiar with this type of game. I am blanking on the name.
You said it's one of the most popular games.
Yeah, so
It
we
is.
should know it.
In the PC world. I know. There's a caveat. I got to find it. But so
Worm racing.
yeah, definitely not
Keith
worm
says.
racing.
Worm racing? That'd be kind of fun. Maybe like an Uncharted-esque type of action platformer.
That'd be pretty. Like, I could almost see Jedi Last Survivor
Yeah, like in that
or
universe.
Soul Survivor. Last.
Soul Survivor.
What is it? Is it Soul Survivor?
Jedi Knight, Jedi Survivor. Isn't it just Survivor?
I don't know. What is it, Kyle? I can't remember.
It's just Survivor. Jedi Knight, Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
Jedi Survivor.
The series is Star Wars Jedi.
Oh.
The second one is Survivor.
What's the first one?
Oh,
Just
God.
Jedi?
Tarkov. Escape from Tarkov.
Oh,
We know that game.
As if I've never
And
heard.
none of you said it.
You didn't either.
Escape from
You did
Tarkov.
nothing to explain what type of game it was.
Everything I was
Yeah.
thinking of, I was going to name the two factions that you join in as. I can't even remember the fucking acronyms for them, and I was going to butcher that. The whole concept is you drop in,
Yeah.
and it's an instance. You collect the resources, you get out, and whatever you get out, extract with.
keep.
Extraction shooter. That's what I was trying to remember. If I would have said that, you probably could have got there. Extraction shooter.
Division.
Yeah, loosely. It's basically the same thing, but Tarkov's has
close.
a lot more.
Not at all.
I think Tarkov is much more of like a based around
Tarkov's harder. It's
survival.
more-
yeah,
Yeah,
It has
it's
of the
more
survival
and it's more
elements.
harsh. With Division, I haven't played Division. I never played Division 2, so I don't know if that changed, but it was anything in the dark zone was what you could
Telling me how
drop.
the game plays. He never fucking played himself.
Would you watch a stream of it? And all
you
Yeah,
hear?
what do you claim? Excuse me.
Did you hear? I said everything that you pick up in the dark zone, if you die, that's what you lose. Not everything on you like Tarkov.
Nice.
Well,
Well,
Jedi Fallen Order, by the way.
Fallen Order.
Fallen Order, then Survivor.
if that's how the gameplay loop is in Dune 2, it'll have my attention for maybe 20.
But it's an MMO survival, right?
Yeah, but that just means that might just
It could be
exactly.
like
I'm
The
hoping it's a
Forest.
massive
Yeah.
game.
You're in the desert building a shelter.
I'm hoping it's a
Like-
massive game.
Well,
but
we watched that little gameplay a while ago.
I don't even
know how-
remember watching gameplay of this.
Yeah, we did.
I'll have to check it out.
and
again.
they've never lied to anyone that's ever lied in marketing. So
Never.
I
ever.
can't think of one time where marketing about a game was different than what actually came out. What the
I
fuck
just
are you
want to
guys
know
talking
what's
about?
the end game. What's the fucking end game? Most movies that become an MMO are just shitty money grabs. That's my point. That's my concern.
Yeah, I don't know. Conan Exiles. That's pretty.
I think it'll probably be like Conan Exiles.
I think it's
to be
going to be
honest.
in that kind of vein of things.
Not really that familiar with what you're referencing.
It's a video
Okay,
game about
well,
Conan the
why'd you laugh?
Barbarian.
Conan the Barbarian.
Yes.
Yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger,
Oh, I know.
Yeah, it's a whole video
Familiar.
game. MMO.
governor.
I'm surprised as a PC gamer you don't know what
Well,
it is.
I'm assuming that because I haven't heard of it, that it's been some fucking meme that you guys stroke off.
Actually, it had a pretty big following for them.
Yeah.
I bet we can look right now how many people are playing it.
Look.
I guarantee you it's in the hundreds.
Look it up.
Wow.
It might even be in the 4 digits.
What is it called? Conan what?
Exiles.
Conan Exiles. Watch it be like 100,000, something crazy.
Well, that's price history.
We'll get there, sir.
Look at that.
5,000?
5,000.
All-time peak 5,300 or 53,000. Honestly, that might not be bad because they might even have their own launcher. So this game might be pretty decently popular, depending on.
A lot of
how it actually
people,
came
a lot of people play it. It doesn't look like something I would really ever sink a lot of time into, but
Looks like they had a major content release even in 2022. Pretty cool.
oh.
Oh, Twitch data. There's
Who made it?
116 people watching. Funcom.
Are they the ones making the Dune game?
Who's making? Yeah,
I
who's the
got
developer?
I got a weird feeling that it's probably the same. No, we'll see.
You're not gonna look it up on
You're-
for us to see.
I'm getting there, sir. Aaron Burr, sir. What am I looking at?
Wow,
Sorry.
and you call us the musical person, and you just reference
Developer
Hamilton,
of Dune.
Do you know
Aaron Burr.
how much
sir?
of a fan my wife is? Okay.
Convenient excuse.
Yeah.
You don't even have a wife. What are you talking about? What? That's so random.
Oh, I knew it.
That's fucking crazy. How did you know that? Was that a wild guess?
It was a gut feeling.
I made
So
the
there you
joke
fucking
about
go.
it. And
That's why no one's excited.
Conan Exiles. Dune Awakening is made by the same people that made Conan Exiles. So I was totally joking too. I did not actually think it was gonna be like the same.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So after this, we'll
Small
look
world.
up Conan Exiles, and you'll get an idea of what the final
what-
product.
yeah.
Boy, I can't wait. No, there's some rumblings of a decent amount of people excited for this. I think the MMO player base is sort of starved for a fresh MMO. Unfortunately, a lot of the ones that have come out recently have really failed in a big way. New World came out, was insanely popular.
Like the last expansion for Destiny.
Shut the
Yeah.
I can't even
The
take
MMO.
you seriously.
The MMO Destiny.
God, I hate everything that just came out of your mouth.
MMORPG. Destiny?
No,
Some would say the greatest MMORPG.
I'm moving on. Keith says running around the desert world worrying about dying constantly. Yeah, and that might be the whole premise of the game. I mean, that is that world. You have to conserve water.
You know, I would love like
I
a
don't know.
Subnautica type Dune game. I love Subnautica.
Before we jump to that one, Daniel says the Dune game's gonna suck. Daniel, I agree. Honestly, that's why I said I'm not like super jazzed. I'm gonna try and play it depending on what the monetization model is. I've never really been a big survival game guy.
You should look up Conan Exiles. You'll see what it's going to be like.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
I mean, there's 5,000 players right now.
Right now, the just so you know, it says, why is daylight savings time still a thing? Are we transitioning to that?
No. What do you mean?
That's what our stream says.
Oh, that is our next topic. Yeah.
Okay, I'm like, oh, is that what
We're
we have
just
to
building
talk
up
about
to
now?
it.
We're just building up? Okay.
It shouldn't be.
Subnautica. Were you
No.
wanting to talk about that?
Daylight saving time.
We gotta talk
Oh,
about
I just
another
had a
something.
little mini rant on this. I wanted to bring it up.
With you, nothing's little or mini. Wink, wink.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's a good friend. You hear that, babe? Someone's impressed.
You're calling out to your fake wife again.
Yeah.
Doesn't exist.
Give me a break. Dude. So first off, everyone agrees that this is dumb that it even exists, right? Okay, let's be explicit here. Daylight savings time is a great thing. It's when we switch back to standard time is when it sucks, which is right now we're in standard time. We lose that extra hour on the ass end of the day. And I've always known this sort of anecdotally, but I've never actually seen the numbers on this. It's like 8 months of daylight savings times and 4 months of standard time. It's not even half the year. Do you guys ever realize this?
I guess I never really thought about it that much.
It's the first week of November, December, January, February, and then like the first week of March or like the second, I don't know how it is, but like the first week of March, this year it's March 9th, is we go back to standard time. So it's like 8 months on one end and 4 months on the other end. What is the point of it? I always
Farmers.
thought like
You
it
give
was like
farmers
5,
time to
6
work.
months. No, fuck the farmers.
That's what it was for, though. That's why
So
we
I
it's
drink
started.
Busch Light for the farmers. But daylight savings time, fuck them farmers. Give me back my hour. They'd like the hour.
No, I think it's stupid. I don't understand why we still have it. I know, like, a vast majority of people hate it, too. I've
Time
seen the
doesn't even
numbers.
exist.
And how does it benefit the farmers? They have to wake up even earlier? They don't like to sleep in? Also, guess what?
I don't think farmers
Here's the
ever
reality.
sleep in.
Here's the reality. It's the fucking winter.
Yeah.
They ain't farming shit.
That's not true.
Why'd you...
Daylight saving. I can see
I was pointing to you
to fill in the gap.
fill in the
You're a
gap.
farmer.
What do you farm?
You got that
in the
mustache
wintertime?
farmer.
Yes, they farm
Ice.
ice.
Yeah. Okay. But no, I think the
Christmas
thing that
trees?
I think the thing that helps farmers is the daylight savings time. It's not the non-daylight savings. It's not the standard time.
So standard time is going back to standard.
Right now is standard time.
Yeah. So like the daylight savings time helps the farmers. Standard time is like we don't need to help the farmers anymore, so we're going back to
Yeah.
normal time.
So it's like you will help you, but only 8 months out of the year. It's like, I love that we help the farmers. Let's make it the whole damn year. And it's not even 50-50.
So why don't they just start getting up at 5 instead of 6? Like, why do they have to change the whole time?
Yeah. Is it because the markets for selling produce during the summer month? I don't know.
I don't get it. None of it makes sense. I can't even track the logic in it.
So
It's not even half the year. That one
according to
blew my
Gemini,
way.
farmers in the winter, they prepare for spring.
Sure.
They plan for the next season.
Sure.
They care for their livestock.
Mm-hmm.
They grow cold weather crops. They educate themselves.
Wow.
And they sell crops.
Okay. Thank you
They
for
sell
that.
crops.
I didn't know we had AI co-pilot here in the office with us.
Look, ask Gemini why
It's just
Why
if you use
daylight-
Google now. The first thing is always just
This throws it
Gemini's
right at you. Yeah.
response, whatever you just said.
ask why daylight saving time still exists. Let's see Gemini's
Let's see
answer.
what Gemini says. Daylight savings time exists to
again-
make better use of daylight hours during summer months by shifting the clock forward, essentially giving people more sunlight in the evening.
Yes.
And was originally implemented as a way to conserve energy, particularly during World War I, when fuel was a critical concern. The idea is to utilize natural daylight more efficiently rather than relying on artificial light.
We love daylight savings time. Everybody wants daylight savings time. Give it to me 12 months of the year.
So just change daylight savings time
to always.
to standard time, and it'd be the only time.
Yeah. If all of those are the benefits, I would love to be in 30. It was said for World War II.
World War One.
World War One. So 07 then or whatever. When did World War 1909?
1918 was the
End
end of
of
it,
it?
I think.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there.
1917.
So let's say 1910. They're talking about this, right? We need to conserve energy. The guy's like, well, what about when we need to revert the damn thing? Let's just split the year up, but not evenly. Let's do 8 months and then 4 months.
Well, because it has
What's
to do
the
with the
thought?
seasons. That's when the time, it's not. You can't just do half the year because that's not how the seasons work.
That's what I'm saying. Do the full fucking year.
Yes, I agree with you.
It's a crazy thing to even bring up. Like, what was the discussion point
Think
there?
of the goddamn farmers.
Yeah, we love daylight. So just make it always. Why? What was the counter argument to not have it always? That doesn't
Earth
make any sense.
shifts.
It doesn't make
During
any
the winter,
sense.
we are further from the sun,
Nice.
and days are shorter.
That's actually so not true, by the way. But okay.
days are shorter.
Yet Earth actually moves away from the sun.
Our tilt is further away from the sun,
Wow. It's impressive.
Oh man.
and days are shorter.
It's just
Billy.
like I can't track any logic in it. Before it was like, okay, it was sort of a thing, but I was thinking real hard. It's like daylight savings time is 240 days out of the year. So the other one, so 125, 126 days, 125.25, whatever it is for leap year. Like double the time in daylight savings time. Why fractionalize it? Dude, I can't track any logic.
Let's see what chat.
How
we,
many-
We agree with you.
Yeah, how many people? I'm just venting. Now.
Okay.
Can you just support?
No.
I am
I'm bitching with you.
not
and
at me.
Not at you.
okay.
All right. I feel like
I'm not a
85
representative of daylight savings time. Don't take it out on me.
Yeah. I am like 85. I bet you 85% of the U.S. population could immediately be like, yeah, get rid of it.
Yeah, I think last time I looked, that's the numbers is like 80%.
What are we waiting for?
The president.
So according to ChatGPT,
I miss my extra hour in the winter, man.
I said, "Do we need daylight savings time?" It gave me an argument for and against. And then I said, what side do you think makes the most sense? And it says the arguments against daylight savings time seem to make the most sense in today's world. Here's why. So ChatGPT's with you. It
Wait.
agrees.
Against daylight savings time would be against me.
No.
I think it's just the shift in general, picking to one time.
Oh, okay.
That never changes.
You're saying you want the shift to stick with
I want
daylight savings.
Daylight savings to be permanent.
Permanently
Right now
on.
we are in standard time.
Yes.
Yeah.
What if we just go back to standard time and just
No.
leave it?
I want that extra hour.
No.
What if we?
If standard time was always, that would suck way worse.
It's
Then in the summertime, instead of getting dark at like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, it would get dark at 7:30. No, that blows. I want as much time as
I
possible.
think you should campaign.
I probably could win just on that fact alone. I don't understand it. How is it there's this much consensus and it just doesn't get done? Anyway, it's just bonkers.
It's big sun.
It's the big sunlight people.
Yeah,
Big sunlight people.
Like big pharma, but for the sun.
Does time exist?
Let's talk about it.
Does time exist, or is it? I mean, nothing really exists in the grand scheme of things.
It's a rule we made
but
up.
why did we make up this rule? It's really just revolutions around the sun. Do we need to know more than just that?
Why do I even care about time?
I don't know. I
Time
don't.
never cared about me.
That's what I told my boss last time I showed up 3 hours late.
Am I really aging, or have I always been this age?
All right, now we're getting right where we should be.
And speaking of aging, Conan Exile.
Yeah, Conan Exile.
This episode brought to you
Definitely not by
Conan Exile.
That's their marketing campaign. Uh,
You're right. AFK Arena.
yeah.
Raid Shadow Legends.
Raid Shadow Legends.
That's
BetterHelp.
Is that still a thing?
This episode brought to you by Honey. We just
We just got it.
We just picked them up as a sponsor. Isn't that crazy?
For everybody
It's
clicking
amazing.
the link, we won't get it.
What else have you
Damn.
been thinking about, Billy? What else is?
What else do you wanna rant
gonna
about?
be
Well,
Those
ranted?
I bring so much energy to these fights,
Yeah.
And then
And
you guys
that's
just
why
act
we
like
love you.
don't care. And
Well,
to be
I
honest,
I
I
care.
don't really care.
I care. I
But I
care about
care
the
a
things you
lot.
say.
I do. Let's see what else is going on in the mind of
William.
William.
Well, Dylan worked.
These
the people
fires,
behind us.
these fires in LA are fucking bumming me out, man.
Oh man, I hate
Have
to
you
end
seen
on
this
this
shit?
note, but it's devastating.
Yeah.
That is, I saw one image, and it's almost kind of weird to say, but it is a little more sad when it's that kind of money that gets burned up. I know, like a house is a house, but then when there's something that sticks with you when you are looking at $100 million home that's gone.
That doesn't affect me too much.
Yeah.
I would say there's a lot of historical significance that's just gone forever though. Like there's a lot of places in Altadena that have these houses have been in families for 100 years and it's just gone like that. That'd be tough. People look at it and they're like, oh, they're rich celebrities. They can just buy it.
I know.
For one, there's still
Yeah.
people. We got to consider that. Yes,
100%.
they can still buy another house and it's not going to affect them in the same way it would a normal person, if you will. But there's also a lot of people that aren't
The majority.
celebrities.
The reason why
Yeah.
that area is so expensive is because it's not transient. People move there and then they stay there. So exact example you gave was that family. Some house has been owned by a family for 100 years. They didn't pay $50 million, whatever, for that house, or $10 million. For
It's
that
crazy the
house.
amount of people this is affecting. And this has got to be the most devastating structural damage, non-terrorist attack, pretty much ever.
What about San Francisco fire?
The San Francisco fire about 100 years ago was pretty devastating too.
Yeah.
Are you specifically speaking of fire? Or are you adding in hurricane stuff?
Katrina was pretty bad.
Katrina, and then
Yeah.
what was the one that hit New York? And
That wasn't as bad
Boston.
as this though. The one that hit New York.
I thought it did 300 billion in damage versus Katrina was 250. I'll look it up while we talk, but this is definitely up there. I've seen numbers of 50 billion. I've seen a couple getting close to 100 billion.
I could be way off, but I feel like fire damage. This is pretty damn significant. They said like 5,000 houses have burned down.
Well, most damage done by natural event.
Natural events.
Well, most.
Well, hurricanes do the most damage. I guess
Yeah.
Katrina. Katrina's probably the worst.
I can't remember the name, but there was one that hit in just a couple years ago. Well, this is not what I'm looking
What's
for.
the purple one? Hold on. Winter Storm.
Yeah,
November 2017.
Yeah, that's not what I'm looking for.
I don't even remember this one that hit New York that you're talking about, to be honest with you.
Yangtze River flood.
The Great Galveston Storm. Wow.
Dude, Galveston's always getting hit, man. Like, why even have a town there? It's insane.
Go ahead and fill the time, guys, while I start this.
Nah.
Yeah, it's
They
it's
can't
crazy.
sit with us in silence for a little bit.
No, the
Then
fire's
they're not
crazy.
real fans.
Hurricane Katrina killed 1,800 people and did 160 billion in damage.
Most expensive natural disaster.
Yeah, Hurricane
Ike,
Katrina, Great Flood. What was it?
Helen, Hurricane Maria, Hurricane Harvey,
Katrina.
Katrina. Yeah, it's over 200 billion. I guess if you adjust for
How many people?
1,800 people passing away. That's crazy.
Hurricane Harvey. Where did Hurricane Harvey hit?
Texas.
89 deaths. Yeah, but look at the difference. 89. Not that this is. We're comparing tragedies here. 89 deaths for Hurricane Harvey. Over 1,800 deaths for Hurricane
That's like
Katrina.
a 9/11 event.
That is insane.
You know what I think the difference is? 2005, 2017. Legitimately,
Our
the fact that every
preparedness.
data being able to inform people
Mm-hmm.
living there, and how much learned wisdom came from Katrina.
Yeah.
And you see it, you know what I mean? Like, now you're not fucking with hurricanes anymore. It's like, okay, you got to get the hell out. Also, this hit probably the worst area, most susceptible. I mean, half the city's underground, right? So it just floods, and then you're fucked anyway. Yeah, it's pretty bonkers.
I think what I read was in regards to all the fires in LA. I think it was the article was specific to fire damage, is what it was, not
Sure.
natural disaster.
Sure.
No.
But I mean, if we use the estimate of 100 billion, which I saw 50 billion
Look
a
up
week ago.
fire damage.
What do you mean?
Like, what's the most expensive fire?
It has to be the Chicago fire.
Chicago fire?
Yeah, that one.
When good point, because this is natural disaster.
Yeah.
I don't know if a fire could be, unless it started from natural reasons.
I think
I don't
a lot
think-
of what happened with this one is it all started from like one fire, and then also just like the biggest windstorm in history hit LA at the same time that
It
a
was
fire
worst
broke
conditions.
out.
Well, and they
And
say
they literally
arson,
just spat it all over the.
and they're saying like arson is still not off the table. And like, I think what started the Chicago fire was like someone lit a cow on fire. And then it burned a barn down, and then
fuck?
it literally burned all of Chicago. Like, not kidding.
When did that happen?
Let's pull it
A
up.
long time ago, the O'Leary family, his famous family.
The most expensive,
What did I
Fire
frame?
damage. most expensive fire disaster.
In the
Let's
U.S.
see.
Yes. Campfire. Northern California's Butte
Oh
Country.
well, that was all over the news. That was like
Last 2018.
that didn't hit like a lot of. I mean,
What about most destructive
We're already
fire?
way over that.
yeah.
Whoa.
Look at like most destructive fire. Not based on price, right? Just based on
Yeah, we don't.
largest, deadliest costs and wildfires, deadliest fires. I guess deadliest fires, right?
Well,
Maybe.
let's see.
World Trade Center.
Oh,
Oh,
deadliest
well.
fires and explosions, I guess.
Steamship boiler explosion.
Oh,
Well, that's just
no.
9/11. This is the terrorist
Everybody
attack
on
is
the
number
boat.
one. Like,
Damn.
Worst fire.
Steamships, a lot of ships. These are way back in the day, man. Look at how much safer the world
Great
is.
Chicago fire right there.
Great Chicago Fire happened in 1871.
The San Francisco was bigger. I didn't know that.
Bigger than what?
San Francisco, pretty much all of San Francisco burned down.
Yeah, in the San Francisco fire.
Oh, when they had the earthquake?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see that Coconut Grove nightclub? 492 people
In 1942.
in a nightclub? Did they get sealed in there?
Oh my God.
Is this like... When was
The
Pearl
Great
Harbor?
Was
Was Pearl Harbor 41 or 42? I can
It was
never remember.
Iroquois
Was it 42?
yesterday,
Theater?
December 7th, 1941.
It was 41. Okay. I knew December 7th. I'm like, was this like 2 weeks before? Like everyone's partying up in a nightclub and then Pearl Harbor happens.
Cocoa nut? Is that a typo or is it really spelled like that?
Cocoa nut.
Cocoa
Cocoa
nut?
nut.
Grove
That's
nightclub?
1942. They didn't have Google.
Well, cocoa is like a real word for like...
Chicago fire had 17,000 structures burned with over 100,000 people left homeless.
100,000 people left homeless, dude.
1871. They didn't have any fire safety. in
100,000
1871.
people left homeless. That's bonkers.
Well, shit. Where do we go now? This is the old West too. People were probably just killing each other. You know.
Dude. That's so crazy. Yeah, basically it allowed them to rebuild and reorganize all of Chicago. But it started like from a cow, something like that. So yeah, I mean this is no joke of a damage. I just been keeping an update, every night looking at it, and like you said, Kyle, I mean some of the worst firefighting conditions ever. I mean, they're getting gusts of 70-mile-an-hour winds.
They have no water. There's certain laws that say they can't take salt water.
How many
Like it's insane.
homeless in Chicago?
Homeless people?
100,000.
100,000?
Yeah.
San Francisco was between 227,000 to 300,000.
Like, what are we talking,
Yeah.
like today?
No, the San Francisco
No,
fire.
that were left homeless after. The
Oh,
San
I thought you were just quoting how many homeless people there are right now. I'm like,
Well,
what are we
it
talking
could be,
about
I
now?
don't know, like-
I was like, wait. Yeah, that's crazy. Well, that also, I don't know. I mean, obviously the fire was bad, but the earthquake is what fucked that city
Yeah.
too. I mean,
It was the combination.
Holy
Yeah, because
shit.
the earthquake caused the fire.
the photos from that, I think that's still the largest earthquake to hit the U.S. Maybe I'm way wrong in that. I'm not sure, but I feel like it was like 7.4. I remember reading when I was a kid. I had the, Guinness World Record book of
That's such
random
a
bullshit stats.
crazy
and that was always
world
on
record
there.
to have.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
like a 7.4 or something. 7.2.
7.9.
The San Francisco one,
Mhm.
dude, that's crazy. Didn't an 8.2 just hit somewhere in Japan?
I don't know.
8.2,
A
8.3.
9.2 struck Alaska at one point, but because it's Alaska, there wasn't.
Nobody gives a shit.
Yeah, I also read about one that happened like in the middle of the ocean, but it was like a 9 point something, but it was so brief that it really didn't cause. I remember hearing about it. I'm like, oh fuck, there's going to be a massive tsunami. But I guess it was just a very quick boom. It didn't like. I don't know shit about this stuff, but it wasn't. It didn't cause a big issue.
It
Basically
says the largest earthquake that ever hit the United States was a magnitude of 9.2 that struck
Jesus.
Prince William Sound, Alaska, in March 27, 1964. But it was also the second largest earthquake ever recorded using modern instruments.
9.2.
9.2.
You said the Puget Sound.
I don't remember saying that, but
What was the place though?
It was something. sound.
the Prince William Sound.
Oh, Prince William Sound. Sorry.
Puget. I'm
Puget
like-
Sound is outside.
I thought
of
it was like
Seattle,
an
so I didn't know.
instrument that you were talking about.
I think the Puget Sound is like.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Canada. I don't know how close it was to Alaska.
But oh my god,
I couldn't imagine. I mean, I've just seen the videos of like the seven. The one recently in Tokyo or something, right? Where the guy's in his apartment, like in a skyscraper. And then you just see shit getting racked. And you're like, my God.
imagine being anywhere like remotely up a building when that happens.
That'd be insane. Do you guys have a favorite like natural disaster?
A favorite
Fact.
natural. Oh,
I was like, finish that sentence before.
Yeah, like fact or
no.
like I love
Natural disasters.
no
This guy's on a roll.
the Krakatoa.
Oh, God.
It's the loudest
Yes.
explosion
Blow your eardrums out.
ever
from, like, halfway
recorded.
across
You could
the world.
hear it all around the world. That blows my mind. Like,
It was the volcano erupting, right? That was that.
yeah,
I
you
was
could
thinking
hear
of-
1,900 miles away.
Wasn't it? Wasn't it some ungodly? Like if you were 600 miles away, would have blown your eardrums out or something ridiculous? And just tilling the yard. Fuck!
just out there farming.
There's no warning.
No.
Trying to see if it gives me like a.
The
It says it was recorded.
Is it not weird that like the Earth is crazy stable right now? When you think of like volcanoes and shit like
mega
that.
thrust earthquake that hit Alaska. So it's 9.2, 9.3.
Oh, this is the same one.
Same one. The most powerful earthquake has ever hit the United States. Lasted for 4 minutes and 38 seconds and killed over
7 people.
131 people
Damn.
and did $311 million in damage. Adjusted for inflation, it's about $3 billion now. But 9.2. Imagine just existing in that environment where your world is shaking at a 9.2. Like that's
Well, and I
insane.
believe that magnitude, the Richter scale, right? I believe that is exponential. So like when you go from a 7 to an 8, it's not like a 6 to a 7.
Yeah,
I think it ramps up.
it's like leveling up in Diablo.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So I have the facts around
Hit me with the
Krakatoa.
facts.
So roughly, so
I'm gonna name my kid.
the
that, by
energy
way,
released from the
Krakatoa.
explosion has been estimated to be equal to about 200 megatons of TNT, roughly 4 times as powerful as Tsar Bomba, the most powerful thermonuclear weapon ever detonated.
Big
The
boom,
pressure wave
basically.
was estimated to be at 310 decibels SPL, and there was reports it was heard some 1,300 miles away in the Bay of Bengal.
What year?
This was August 26th.
2022.
It happened today. No, 1883.
1883.
So you remember it, right?
Funny.
You know what's funny is it's only like 30 years older than my grandpa. My
It's
grandpa
like
was
almost
born
a
in
living record.
like
I remember.
1920.
Like,
something
how
like
have we not had another volcano that's exploded
That's
like
what I'm
that?
saying. Like we've had crazy calmness.
Yeah.
Like, do we have anything to be like to chill a volcano out, or is our best solution like, yeah, I better pack it up and just go over here? Like, do we have anything? I don't.
I mean, we
even
study
had-
reports of it. And
Have
like,
you
see
seen
if it's
those ads
dormant.
for the fire blankets? They
It's over the top.
yeah.
Chill out, bro.
Chill,
We
daddy.
just dump some ice in it.
Listen to some meditation music.
I always
Yeah,
remember there's
exactly.
a-
Like we monitor and we tell people like, oh, it's active. Maybe consider. But I mean, fucking, don't they say Mount St. Helens or whatever can blow at any time? And
I think I could be totally wrong on this,
Oh.
but Shasta and Lassen, I think at one point was one giant volcano that blew up like prehistoric times.
that's
But
unbelievable.
those two peaks used to be connected.
Don't they say isn't Yellowstone one massive
Yeah.
super
Yeah.
volcano? Don't they say that?
Yeah, like in 2012 when Woody Harrelson's character's like, "Whoa," and then it blows up.
Oh, the movie 2012. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
what did Woody Harrelson do in 2012?
And John Cusack.
yeah.
I guess the pressure wave was recorded. Several barographs recorded the wave 7 times over 5 days, 4 times with the wave
Just
traveling
going
away.
around the world.
It went, hence the wave rounded the globe 3.5 times.
Yeah, that's mind blowing.
That's insane.
And how have we not had that?
I'm
want
glad.
that. No, I'm glad. Yeah.
I don't want that shit.
That-
Do you know how
out of
fucked
all the
our
world-ending
electronics would be?
events,
Our electronics
We had-
would be fucked.
We had Mount St. Helens, I guess. That's the most recent big
Even
volcano.
that was that like the 70s or something?
Yeah.
And people fucking live there still. Like I don't. It's crazy.
But like,
how
didn't
kind
it?
of
It
precious
turned
we've been and lucky we've been.
the sky. Like the sky was dark for months.
the most recent volcano eruption was
Yeah, that's true.
Kilauea in Hawaii,
Mm-hmm.
which began December 23rd. 2024 and paused a little bit in January 3rd. So it actually like happened like a week ago.
So I wonder if
But we don't even hear about what is
It's
it?
not the same.
Does it
it's
like
very
burp
minor.
like acid reflux? Like,
Well, I wonder if they
isn't
found
Hawaii
a way.
also active always?
Yeah, I wonder if they found a way to like open. They can tell if the pressure's building, and they find ways to like release pressure.
Put a little baking soda in it.
Well, like open up the mountainside and let it out, because I think
If they core
Krakatoa
into it, and
Yeah, I think the reason it exploded is because it built up
Oh.
all the pressure.
so you think we do have ways of maintaining
Maybe,
it.
and maybe that's just by like
Yeah.
drilling into it.
You ever seen that video of the farmer that goes to that bloated cow, stabs it in the stomach, and opens it up and just lets out all the gas?
Oh yeah, it's
basically-
crazy.
yeah.
And
We
then the
basically
cow's
do
like
that with
fine
And he puts the
afterwards.
fire.
Yeah, it basically burns off the excess gas. We basically do that with volcanoes.
Yeah,
Like,
maybe.
yeah, open her up. Let her breathe.
The most devastating volcanic eruption in human history
Pompeii.
was the eruption of Mount Tambora in Indonesia in 1815.
Huh.
The eruption killed an estimated between 71,000 and 92,000 people. It also caused global food shortages and a year without summer in the region.
What year was it?
Year without summer.
1815. Estimated up to 92,000 people died from that volcano. Holy.
What year do you
Hell.
guys start
The
to?
Krakatoa said the higher number estimation was 137,000.
According to this, it says Krakatoa only killed about 36,000.
Wikipedia had
Who's
137
is
on
bigger,
the high end.
gentlemen?
Mine is Gemini pulls sources from Wikipedia. It pulls sources from multiple different websites and fact checks.
Whose AI is better?
Mine's
Let me ask you guys
straight
this
off
question:
Wikipedia.
At what year do you start to trust like historical ledger?
Honestly, I have a hard time anything before 1900.
I kind of am with you. It's like,
Yeah.
well, how good was their data? You're just like a guy with a notepad. Like, how many people do you think died? All right, I'll write it down. Like, who? You know what I mean? They didn't have like good
300,000?
census data. You're talking about very rural parts of the world. Like,
According to sciencefocus.com, Krakatoa is only number 3. Dylan, I'm sorry.
Wikipedia, tell them.
I feel like I trust Science
You
Focus
should-
more.
You should go on Wikipedia and edit the article, I think.
gentlemen, we've been live for almost 2 hours. Let's shut the fuck down.
I love talking about volcanoes.
Hey,
Clearly,
fun.
Liz Kyle has not met my father because that man's erupted a few times. That would rival the best of them.
The most devastating volcanic eruption of my
Mike.
father. 2010.
I'm a fire in my laser.
You remember that episode of SpongeBob where they all had superpowers?
and he was Krakatoa, I
And
think.
Squidward became Krakatoa.
Yeah, and he blew the lid off of his.
yeah, volcano in his head. That's where I first heard that as a kid. He's like Krakatoa, and he like blows up, and then he like he burns somebody else. Like, what is? It's fucking stupid. Anyway,
It's SpongeBob, baby. Dill pickle. Where can people find
Sí,
us?
señor.
Dilly Bar,
They can find us right
Billy
here.
Bar? Is that what you call it?
Dilly Bar, Dilly Bar.
I used to be called Dilly Bar.
Billy Bar. That's so stupid.
What's your nickname?
Billy Bar now. I
Billy
like
Bar.
it.
It's Billy Bar.
They
What's
call me
what's the serial
Butterfinger.
killer? Something Bill?
What?
Don't say anybody's serial killer name. I don't fucking like that shit.
Buffalo Bill.
Buffalo.
Oh God. That's me, I guess, huh?
It puts the lotion on the skin. No.
Oh, from
He puts the lotion in the basket.
is that him?
Is Buffalo Bill?
Oh, so he's a fictional.
Where's the? Because he skins his victims.
That's me.
Yep.
Where do you think I got my eyebrows?
You're Billy
back from?
Bar. It's all right.
Billy
I like
Yes.
Billy Bar.
They can find us, Billy Bar, right here on YouTube.
Right now.
Right now where we're live. We're live Tuesdays, 7 p.m. Pacific time, where we
Roughly.
stream to you. Yes, and come join us, come comment. We like to see you guys. But yeah, come join us next week. Same time, same place.
Subscribe,
Same
like,
friends.
do all
Same
the things.
Maybe we'll talk about volcanoes more. Maybe we'll talk about...
We
know,
spent
place for all things
talking
volcano.
about soda in Volcano. This was
Video
wild.
games, movies.
That's exactly what I
We
want
ended
now.
it on a serial killer putting lotion on skin.
Can I summarize real quickly why I enjoy doing a podcast? Because I've thought deeply about this. It's not
Yes.
because of the viewers. Fuck the viewers. What do we care about them? Not at all. What do I care about it? First off, I enjoy the companionship between you two. But
Are we gonna hold hands?
do you know? No, because this
your
is
hand
why I
away.
really enjoy it. You didn't take my hand the other day.
You
I'm
were
not
trying to
high-fiving.
you were trying to fist bump me at an insult.
Listen,
to me.
before we fight, let me compliment us. I love being able to have conversations with people and they're not on their phone. I find too many times in my life, you can't get in, you
We
can't
were on our
engage
phone.
in a deep conversation.
When I'm on my phone, it's because I'm researching for the conversation. All right.
I know.
Him and Gemini, there's basically a fourth person on this podcast,
And ChatGPT. Don't forget that
Both.
one.
and some websites we won't mention.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right here.
But I find that in life, I can't engage deeply in a conversation with people without some distraction coming up or them deferring to their phone. And this podcast allows that. It's like it's like the last honest conversation in my life.
Yeah.
I don't know how you guys, I feel like that is, as simply put, that's one of the biggest things for me. I enjoy that.
I enjoy the podcast because it allows me to nerd out with my friends, and like have deep nerd out conversations too. Like
What do you like about it?
not just surface level.
Exactly.
It's not like
and you're not, and there's something weird because we know we're going to be on here for at least an hour. You're not afraid to take the conversation deeper.
Yeah.
Because you know that there's an allotment of time that we can dedicate to it. Versus if you're engaged in just natural conversation, you might not want to take that jump because you're like, maybe they don't want to spend the next 10 minutes talking about this, And so you keep it at a small talk level.
Mm-hmm.
Versus this is an environment where it's like, no, we're here to chat. I agree.
Oh, am I obligated
Yes.
to say something nice about
100%.
this podcast? It's all right.
What do you, I just fucking, this guy,
I love
is
you guys,
so
and you
lame.
know it. All right.
king of lame.
Put me on
King
the
of lame.
spot. You guys decided to get all soft at the end.
You're right. We know he's not great at debating on the spot.
Killy Bar.
Killy bar. Like kill
Bar.
dude.
Killian Murphy bar.
That's too much. All right. That's
That's too much.
He said Killian Murphy bar.
Yeah.
All right.
Buzz
Well,
Killy bar.
with a good KD,
Buzz Kyle.
you get the dub.
Bye, guys.
Bye.